Hello, welcome to another video on the AQA resistant material spec. This hopefully will be a short one. In this video we're just going to be looking at one aspect of the developing ideas section, which is modelling. Do excuse me if I sound like I've got a cold, it's because I've got a cold. And also if my eyes scroll down every now and again, it's because I'm looking at my iPad, just to remind me of what we're talking about. So we're looking just at modelling today. There's a whole line which I equate to about 5 marks available for the modelling section, and it scans from a limited range of modelling all the way up to a wide variety of modelling that's been used to develop and solve the problem. So we want to know how to get maximum marks in a way that our kids can do. What I tell my kids to do is I tell them that there's a range of different materials that I need to see them use for their models, and this is what I tell them. I tell them that they need to use paper, and then card, and then CAD, and then the final material, and then the top marks, the A grade band, I reserve for those students who solve problems using models, and not everyone reaches that. So we're going to have a quick look at some examples of some of the work that my kids have done, and I'll try and talk you through them as we go. Like I said, I'll be looking at my iPad periodically, so excuse me if my eyes wander down. So starting off with paper. Paper is the easiest one to do. It's cheap, it's recyclable, everyone's got access to it. It has limited modelling value, but I find it's really good for initial sizes. I get my kids to draw 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 different sizes, 2D obviously, of their finished work, and they can ascertain, is the smaller size appropriate, is the big size appropriate, but they cut it out life size, and it's better than drawing a sketch, A, because they get modelling marks for it, and B, because they can see something solid in their hands, and I find that's the easiest way to tick off one of the variety of techniques. I have got some kids, and you'll see on the video, that have used paper for 3D modelling, and I love it when they do that. It has limitations, and it does depend on the skill of the student, but some kids do brilliantly at this, and there's some pictures here to show that. The next thing I get them to do is I get them working in card. Now card is really versatile. You can get loads of red and green comments. For those that don't know my marking scheme, red means material properties and green is the social, moral, environmental and sustainability. You can get loads of those in for using card, because you can talk about the fact that it's recycled boxes, that it's sustainable, that you can get corrugated card that's very easy to make 3D models. So you can earn marks for the red and green comments as well as modelling. Card's good because you can build up 3D models, as some of these pictures show. You can bend it, you can cut it with a craft knife, you can laser cut it. There's all sorts of things you can do with card, and it's usually free. I get my canteen or my resources team to give me all the cardboard boxes that the paper comes in, or cardboard boxes that the food comes in, and that has served us for months now. So it's a really easy resource to use. You'll see some pictures here of various ways that my students have used card. Some of them deliberately low quality because they're only proving something, some of them really high quality because they are trying to build a final model of something. Excuse me while I just look at what we've got. I then get some of my kids to use CAD. Now the only CAD we have access to is 2D Design or Google SketchUp, which is free. So not all my kids can use both those programs, but those that use SketchUp, I love to get them getting a a representation of their final model in SketchUp. A really easy thing for them to do is then play about the material choices. They can change the colour of the texture, they can change some of the skins, and they can play about with, are they going to use red oak, white oak, walnut, beech, pine. They can change the colour of their products easily and see it 3D. They can also quite easily develop their ideas on SketchUp. They can add bits, take bits away, change the sizes of things, and that counts as CAD. If possible, I try to get most of my guys doing some kind of laser cutting. That's the only CAM equipment we've got. So just get them to print screen what they do, whether it be if they're making something out of wood but they're going to use the laser cutter to create a template, or they're actually cutting some bits out. Get the print screen in there of your 2D design work, and that adds to your wide variety of techniques. We do sometimes use the blue modelling foam, but it's quite expensive, and I find kids tend to play with it more than use it. I've got a couple of examples here that you can see now of kids that have used it really well, but I've tended to stay away from it in recent years because I find it to be less useful and quite expensive. So the fourth one, we've had paper, card, some kind of CAD. The fourth technique I get them to use is their final material. Whatever their finished material is going to be, I want them practicing in that material, either a joint they're going to use, or drilling holes, testing out with screws, pilot holes. Whatever technique they're going to start to use, I want them practicing it on their finished material. And this is one point where I think the modelling stage needs to overlap the making stage, because they're going to have problems they come up against as they start to make. So I want them to trial something first, just try it out on a scrap bit of wood or scrap bit of plastic or metal or whatever it might be. Take a picture of that and then stick that in your modelling section. And you can be gaining most of, if not half of your modelling marks once you start making. So I don't require my kids to get modelling finished before they start. I think that's unreasonable and unfair. And then the last stage of modelling is what I call problem solving. And this is where I want my students to be, kind of like I just said, solving the making problem. So as they make, they come up against a problem. I want them to then find a solution to that problem by trial and error. And as long as you stop and get them to take a picture of that, that becomes modelling. And there's loads of evidence, it provides loads of marks. So my top band students, the high Bs, the As and the A-star students are the ones that are proving they are problem solving as they go and evidencing it through the make. So that's what I do for mine. Like I say, a quick video. There's lots of pictures here of examples of my kids' work. Where possible, get the models to be high quality. Just get them to finish it well, use a sharp blade, sand it down if possible. I've got various examples here of where I've got some students that have used lots of types of models to tell a story. So I've got one student that started something off in card, and then he did it in foam, and then he practiced it in the wood. And that's what I like to see. I like to see them using the relevant materials for their best intended purpose, and getting the most out of the materials, not just using a model for the sake of modelling. All right, if I have any more to add, I will add it in text form at the end of the video. And all the best of luck with what you're doing, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks.